This Sunday, we begin the season of Lent. And the readings today invite us to think about this question. What do you need to do this day to be like Christ? Are you clear on your mission as a disciple? And how are you going to love and serve this day and this week? What do we need to do to be like Christ? That's been the question of top of my mind this week. Today's gospel is really brief. It's one of the shortest in the Gospel of Mark. But it is loaded with a cast of characters and a lot going on. This is the gospel that, usually the first Sunday of Lent, Jesus goes to the wilderness, the desert. Well, in this gospel, the Spirit sends Jesus out toward the desert. It's a place with no distractions. It is also a wasteland, a place of struggle, of testing, and of insight. And Jesus is not alone. The Spirit drives Jesus to the desert, but he is with a cast of characters. Jesus stayed in the wasteland for 40 days, put to the test there by Satan. He was with wild beasts, and angels waited on him. The cast of characters included Satan, wild beast, and angels. Now, 40 days seems like a long time. That number is a metaphor for that period of testing, and it is 40 days before Jesus begins his public ministry. Now, Satan, many times we have this image of a demonic figure. But in the First Testament writings, Satan referred to God's prosecuting attorney and anything that was in opposition to God's people. And in that time of testing, there are wild beasts, there's animals. It's a matter of survival in that time. And angels waited on Jesus. Jesus was cared for by angels. There's a lot going on. But in that time, Jesus gains clarity and insight into who he is. And then, like Mark's gospel, and then he appears in Galilee proclaiming the good news, preaching God's good news, saying, this is the time of fulfillment. The reign of God is at hand. Reform your lives and believe in the good news. It's the present moment. The good news is now, and that God's good news is of love. That is our message for Lent. Lent is a word that means it's a time of spring. And if we know about spring, there's a lot of growth that happens and goes on. We don't know all of the change and transformation that's going on underneath the soil, but we see the fruits of that labor of love and growth and change. This is a time for us now to experience that time of life that is a time of testing. It is a time to reflect on what gets in the way of us being disciples. What is in opposition to us, and what do we need to work through? And who will take care of us and care for one another in this time? How will we be transformed and changed into something new, a better disciple tomorrow than who we are today? So welcome to Lent. And this week, let us reflect on where is the Spirit driving us to a place to pay attention with no distractions, to listen, to be transformed, and to get really clear on who we are, who we need to be, and to live as disciples of Christ, proclaiming God's time of now and God's time of love for now, in the present moment. love, for kindness, service, peace. Right now, God's time of love. Let us pay attention this week to how we will be attentive, how we will listen, and pray to be like Christ, and then take action in a world that needs action in love, for love, with love, through love, and by love. Just this day. Amen.